Guys, this is the Closer's Playbook. I'm sitting here with Kaleb. What's your last name again?
Kaleb Bryan.
Kaleb Bryan. And we've known each other for over 12 years now, which is crazy because I'm coming up. This is my 15th year anniversary with my wife. And I met you the year after we got married. I just remember that because I remember that trade. We met at that Target in Allen. And the reason we met there is because I lived in Allen. Let's talk about like the beginnings for you, right? We'll get into your story. Tell us a little bit about, like, obviously Kaleb Bryan, you know, how old you are, where you came from. Are you from here? Are you from somewhere else? Humble beginnings or not so humble beginnings. You know, the point of this channel is to like show people that to get to the top 1%, like there's no definitive person. Matter of fact, it's the opposite. You can be anyone. And as long as you put in enough effort, time, whatever, like you can get there. Where did it all begin? Like, when did you know that you wanted to become an entrepreneur?
I was born and raised in Harlingen, Texas,
Okay.
on the border of Mexico, and it's about 15 minutes from the border. So
I know where it's at. Yeah.
it's so close that we could leave for lunch in high school, cross the border, get lunch,
No way.
get a drink if we wanted, and we could just come back.
And did you guys do that?
We've done it before, yeah. It wasn't like all the time, but you could.
I bet your parents would have flipped their lid if they knew you were doing that, right?
Yeah, we would go on the weekends. Like we would go dancing in Matamoros, which is like the city across the border from Brownsville.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, so we would cross on the weekends. Like we would go Friday night. You know, we'd go dancing at the bar. Like drinks were 25 cents.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. This was in 2006, 2007. So I graduated in 2007.
Where did you graduate from?
Harlingen High School
Okay.
South. Yeah.
Okay.
So from a high school there in Harlingen, there's only two big high schools.
Is your family Hispanic?
Yeah. I'm half Mexican.
Okay, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
I did not know that at all until you just said that right now. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
You're-
I'm half Mexican,
Okay.
half white. My dad was an American guy, and
Okay.
then my mom is from Mexico.
Okay.
So yeah, so grew up there. Grew up in the Hispanic culture. It was great.
Yeah.
Going in high school, crossing over. I was played baseball my whole life, so that's where I got my competitive edge. You know, my dad wanted me to, like, he played baseball, so he wanted me to, you know, compete and potentially, you know, see how far I could take it. And
Right.
so in high school, I got a scholarship to play baseball in St. Louis. I left home when I was 17, and just because of an early birthday, not because of, you know, because specifically I was 17.
Right.
But I left home at 17, went to St. Louis to play baseball on a scholarship, and when I got there, you know, it was tough. It was like a culture shock. I had never.
Where did you go?
St. Louis.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you go from like the Valley, South Texas, all the way to St. Louis. I mean, there was like 5 black kids in my high school.
Right.
You know, like maybe, like I had never been exposed to the black culture.
Okay.
So when I went to St. Louis, it was just like not only like the Black American culture, but I also was like bunked up with all the foreigners. Like for some reason they thought I was from Mexico, so they thought I was a foreigner. And what I mean by foreigner is just people from other countries that are
Yeah.
living and coming from other countries.
Yeah.
And so I was bunked up.
That's all of us, right? That's what people don't realize about America.
Yeah, well,
Like, do you guys realize that we're only 250 years old, and so that makes us all foreigners, except for the Native Americans?
pretty much. I mean, we're both Americans. We were born here.
Yeah.
But these guys were born from other countries, and
Yeah.
so I had Egyptians, Brazilians,
Oh, wow.
South Africans that were bunked up with me, and I got to just be exposed to all these different really fun cultures, and become good friends with a lot of those guys in my dorm.
Okay.
So anyway, fast forward, it was like really a culture shock. You know, really started training hard for baseball, but realized that I missed Texas a lot. So
Yeah.
I decided, because of I don't know, just being far from home, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go down to South Texas, go back, and I'm gonna try to walk onto a team. So
Nice.
went to Corpus A&M,
Okay.
and that's where I came back to Texas. Tried to walk on, didn't make it, and at that point I was just like, man, I think I'm gonna quit baseball. And I was just about to turn 19, and
What year was that?
that was like 2008, 2009.
Okay. So before I met you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I go back to my apartment, you know, I'm done with baseball basically, like I'm making that decision, and now like I've decided to forego my scholarship. I have no money. I now need to pay rent for my apartment.
Right.
I need to generate some capital. How do I do it? And so I get on Craigslist and I'm just trying to find a TV for my apartment. End up finding a deal, and this all kind of happened naturally. Like I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let me find something because I'm trying to save money. So I find a deal on a TV, and once I do find a deal on a TV, I'm like, huh, I buy it, get it, and I'm like, what if I repost it? Like this was like not motivated by
Right.
any exterior sources.
That's amazing.
There's
Like
no social
completely.
media, like
Right.
like there's no motivation. This is all just like I don't know, just instinct on survival. And using that instinct, I'm like, all right, let me repost it. And I was like, at first, I was like, is that wrong? Like to
Right.
buy something for this price and then immediately like repost it. So I end up reposting it.
You're like, wait a second. What if I flip this thing? What if I just?
Yeah, so I post it. I post it for sale. A guy like within 24 hours of posting it comes, buys it. I make I don't know what 150, $200,
Right.
whatever it was. I make that money, and it was like just a huge light bulb, huge spark. Because now
Right.
I'm thinking, wow, what if I do this over and over? Maybe I don't have to get a job. And so,
Right.
like the concept, like the first
Did you
concept that
have a job prior to that, or no?
no,
You just
no,
been
no, I had just
scholarships and.
I like my job was baseball. I was
Okay.
getting
Right.
paid to go to school, like
Right. Right.
you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I had like an allowance for like housing, and I was living
Yeah.
off campus. So there was like there was a scholarship that I ended up foregoing, and so that's what put the pressure on me.
Right.
So I think like the first concept that helped me learn as an entrepreneur that was more instinct than anything is how fast can you replace a job, right?
Right.
Like how fast can you generate income? And then it gets to a certain point where if you're frugal enough, like certain people, like it gets to the point where they get this salary and they now are making, call it 100 grand, 6 figures, right?
Right.
They make 100 grand a year. Well, if they're dependent on that 100 grand a year, it takes up quite a bit to go create a startup and make that 100 grand a year to
Right.
replace that salary. So my challenge to young people is how fast can you replace your salary,
Right.
right? How fast can you replace your income, your job over at a restaurant, your if you're working at a car wash. I worked at a car wash
Yep.
at my brother-in-law's car wash. So it's like, how fast can you replace that income? Because the moment that you do, well, like
Freedom.
then it's just freedom,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's freedom of time, freedom
You
of a
ever
lot of
listen to
things.
Gary Vee?
Yeah.
I
I
love,
mean, like I'm not in a long time.
you
He's
know,
awesome. He's
but I
awesome.
love him,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. He's
Um,
himself.
yeah, he's just, that's what I like about him. He's authentic, you know. I like people that are just real and raw like that. But one of
Yeah.
the things like that Gary Vee talks about is like, dude, like you guys act like you're so far. Like he said, he's in his 30s when he was still working for his dad's wine thing,
Right, right, right.
wine merchants or
Yeah.
whatever. But he was like working for his dad from 9 to 5, and then he's like, that's not where you're winning. He's like, what are you doing from 5 to 9? He's like, you can work from 9 to 5 doing whatever just to pay your bills, whatever. But
Right,
then
right, right.
what you're doing from 5 to 9 is kind of what you're talking about, right? How do
Yeah.
you replace that income after hours? You got to keep hustling, right? Most people go, oh, I'm going to go watch TV, or I'm going to, well, you don't really want it then, right?
Right, right.
And that's part of the issue, right? Is not how fast can you replace your income, but are you actually going to replace your income? And what are you going to
Right.
do? What walls are you going to run through to do that? Like we did.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't even know where to start, but I mean,
Right.
like luckily for me, my instincts like pulled me into Craigslist, and it sounded funny. I had friends laughing at me. I
Oh,
had
dude,
people
100%.
calling me out, like, "Oh, this is so ghetto," or "This is so this that," whatever. I just didn't care. I never really had, I never really like cared what other people thought. So,
Yep.
I ended up going that route. I start flipping TVs in Corpus one at a time, and then
TVs.
yeah, TVs on
I love
Craigslist.
it.
That's where I started, and so then I exhaust all. I mean, if you look in your particular in your neighborhood or your local area for just TVs, eventually you're going to run out of sources,
Right.
right?
Right.
You're going to run out of like bartering with people,
Yeah.
and lowballing people.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I end up going and saying, all right, well, let me go to the next biggest city, which was San Antonio. It was 2 hours north.
Okay.
So I said, all right, let me send out messages to everyone with TVs in San Antonio. And so I started doing that. And I started getting tons of hits. And so I told my brother-in-law, I said, hey, can I borrow your trailer? I'm going to take my trailer. I'm going to buy as many TVs as possible, bring them back to Corpus and sell them, because I had the demand, but I didn't have the supply.
Right.
So eventually I met in that trip, I met a guy who was like, "Oh, I've got more TVs if you want to buy like them at wholesale." He had a store where he was selling electronics, but then he had his home where he'd kept like a bunch of electronics for cash deals,
Oh,
like cash
wow.
under the table. So I ended up meeting him, and I ended up buying strictly from him for like the next 3 months going forward. I would go to him and buy his TVs at discounts. He had a deal with HEB and some other like big names, and he would buy their display TVs
Oh, wow.
at a major discount. Like
Of course.
he had a relationship. So I ended up buying them from him, bringing them down to Corpus, and I would send blast messages to all my like. Eventually, got to the point where I was wholesaling to Corpus, and so I started
Nice.
wholesaling to Corpus.
Isn't that the amazing thing about capitalism?
Yeah,
Is that the guy's making money because he's getting them at such a pennies on the
right,
dollar from HEB or whoever.
right,
There's still margin for him.
right.
And now you're wholesaling a wholesale deal. So
Yeah,
he's wholesaling, you're wholesaling, and then someone's retailing.
yeah. And for me, I was 19 years old, so I don't have this big overhead. I don't have this luxurious life, and I didn't know how to spend money, so
Right.
I didn't have like anything but my apartment.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know how to like I didn't care about buying a Rolex, never thought about it. So
Right.
like all I was just saving money.
Yeah.
And I just kept saving and saving and saving, and eventually I get on Google one night, and this story went viral on Facebook. There was over 1 million views on this one particular story, and everyone called it, "Oh, that's fake. There's no way he did that." I'm like, Craigslist was big at
Oh,
the time.
this story, what we're talking about right
Yeah.
now? Oh, I need to
This
find that.
this
I need to
Craigslist.
put a link
There's
in here.
there's a Facebook reel that went viral on this exact story. So I got on Google one night and I type in wholesale TVs. I wanted to find a better source than the guy in San Antonio
Sure. Yeah.
because at this point I had so much demand and I was starting to become the TV guy in like South Texas.
That's so funny.
So I type in wholesale TV and this word pops up called liquidation. And I didn't know what that meant. And so there was companies that were like liquidators and
Yeah.
they would sell electronics in bulk.
Yep.
And so now I found this company called Orlando Liquidation out of Florida, and they would buy like all this hospitality, like electronics for like hotels, motels. They would buy ironing boards, like you name it, lawn, washers, dryers, you name it, appliances. And I said, "Do you have any TVs?" And they said, "Yes. In fact, we can get Class A, Class B TVs. Class A being like your Sony, Samsung,
Right.
LG, and your Class B like Vizio and like all your crappy
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
Toshiba and
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
right." So I said, "Give me your Class A's. I want to buy my first order $60,000. I didn't have 60,000. I was just asking them, hey, what's your price for 60,000? I was trying to get the best deal. I was
Right.
like, let me sample them for 5,000. So I sent them $5,000 and I bought like a sample of TVs, and then and I waited. And I remember waiting for those TVs for like 30 days. It took forever from
Right.
Florida.
Well, yeah.
And I got those TVs in. I forget how many it was. Maybe it'd been like 15
Yeah.
at the time. And I got the TVs, and before they even landed, I had them all sold. So they
Nice.
landed, they were great. I sold them all, and I was like, wow, I've got a new supplier. So then I meet a guy that had cousins. They last name Patel. They all had hotels.
There you go.
They had
Yeah.
motels and hotels all over South Texas.
Yep.
Motel 8s, La Quintas.
Dude, I probably know I in the energy space.
Yeah.
I dealt with a guy named Hash Patel, who's like the leader of all the Patels in Texas. They have
Yeah.
a group of like 800 in something hotels,
Yeah. Yeah.
all
I
Patel and
bet.
seeing,
I bet.
and he's like the guy that manages the energy portfolio for the whole thing.
It's awesome.
That's hilarious. I bet there's some connection there, which is so funny.
Probably. It's yeah, it's
They're all,
So
they're all
I
connected
meet one, and he's like, "Hey, could you supply me with like I think 30 TVs?"
for his hotel.
Yeah, for his
Yeah.
hotel. So I end up doing a second order for 15 grand, and I made 5 grand on top. Then I do a third order for $60,000. Yeah, it was 20, and then I borrowed 40 from my brother-in-law. And that was the
Okay.
first time I had ever borrowed money.
Okay.
So I had 15 grand of my own saved up, and this is all under a year. So I had 15 grand of my own saved up. I borrowed 5 from my roommate, and I borrowed another 40 from my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law at the time, stockbroker, he's like, "Hey, I'm going to loan you this money. I believe in you, but if you lose, it's the last time I'm loaning you money."
Right.
And so I ended up like paying him like we had this agreement like a fee on top, like no interest. It was
Sure.
just a fee on top. So anyway, I basically create contracts with these hotels and motels, and messages start spreading, and I start going all the way down back to where I was born and raised,
Right.
supplying TVs down there to Kingsville, to Corpus, to San Antonio, into little cities, Victoria, like little
Oh, yeah.
cities
Yeah.
all up in there. And I start supplying TVs to these hotels and motels kind of across South Texas.
Wow.
And I'm 20 at the time. I'm in engineering school. I enrolled myself. And I'm like managing business. I'm managing phone calls. And they're like, hey, this TV is breaking down now. And like sending guys out to go fix them. And like doing mounts, like
Yeah.
services, like
Yeah.
service calls for residential, doing TV mounts. I'm managing a whole business at the time. I'm probably netting like 10, 12 grand a month.
Right.
Like nothing crazy, but like
Well, at 20 years
at
old,
20 years old, yeah, I mean,
netting that
it's,
and running a business.
and it varied, right? It
Sure.
varied, but I'm just like averaging. But at the time, it taught me like the pressures of running a small business and negotiating, meeting with people, like
Yeah.
carrying myself professionally. People take you more seriously if you can articulate yourself, if you're
Oh,
educated, right?
100%.
So trust is involved. So anyway, I'm 20 years old. My dad is super sick, and within a 3 week period, he dies.
Uh,
He dies really quickly. He had pneumonia, and then while in the hospital, he caught swine flu, which is like COVID,
right.
but it like accelerates
Right.
his sickness when your immune system's shot.
I wonder if
And
I've
so,
known you for long. I feel like I remember you telling me this story.
yeah, I probably told you, but you didn't know me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
Yeah, like,
It was so impactful in my
yeah.
life, dude. It was such an
Because I
impactful
remember you
moment.
showing me a picture of your dad with like a red car.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember the context, but I just remember you telling me like your dad was like your motivation and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the things you did. And you showed this red car. What was that car?
It was a '66 Plymouth.
I remember that car. I remember that image. It's like seared into my mind of
That's
like,
funny.
yeah,
So, I have one thing that maybe not a lot of people get or want or even ask for, and that's adversity, like early on. And
yeah,
so when you lose your father, so like not only am I having to provide myself for like from an income standpoint, but when I face major adversity like that, like now I've got no backbone, no one to call on, like no one to lean on for advice. Like I am solo, and I could do. When he passed away, I realized like I got a flat on the highway going to the beach in South Padre, and uh, and I'll never forget the moment. I pick up the phone, I go to like call. I'm like, I can't call my dad. Shit, what do I do? I call my mom. Mom, I've got a flat, and she's like,
yeah.
okay.
Call AAA.
I'm like,
Yeah,
she's like, you're gonna have to figure it out, son. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really on my own. Like
yeah.
that like as a 20-year-old, not a lot of kids understand because they lean on their
Oh
parents.
yeah, for sure.
So at that time, I'm like, and my dad was a mechanic, so he was a car guy.
Yeah,
So I could always lean on him. But anyway, in that moment, I realized that, like, wow, whatever I do in this world, like, I'm on my own. I've got to make it for myself. And either I push forward or I just like curl up, and there was no choice.
it's
So
almost like there's something that's great about that though. Like
yeah,
that, as much as it sucks, like I remember feeling similar because I moved out of my parents' house when I was 15, almost 16.
holy cow,
And I just started my own business back then,
that's crazy. Yeah,
similar adversity. Like I was homeless for a long time. Like I would just couch
dang.
surf. I'd sleep in I had a,
As a young kid,
like a 15, 16 years old. Yeah. Like,
homeless.
I mean, I was in California, so I'd go down to the beach. I had like a camper van, like a VW Westfala, whatever they are, like with the pop up. And I would just go
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I chose to do that. You know what I mean? I wanted to leave my parents' house. I was making $100,000 a year selling jeans and apparel on eBay when I was 16 years old. So, like, I was homeless by choice. Like, I just was kind of a floater. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right,
I didn't have a place. Like, I'd couch surf. I'd go to friend's house. I'd go to family's house. I'd go to my aunt and uncle's house. But
right,
like, I didn't know any better. You know, because we didn't have a lot growing up. You know, like I'm again kind of like you, just stacking money.
right.
It's like in a briefcase in my van. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
I didn't
yes,
even have a
yes.
bank account. I wasn't old enough to have one, you know?
Right,
I
right.
just have all this cash and like just, but like also
Same way.
the world hadn't got to me yet to where like you need this and you need this. And it's like I didn't need anything because I didn't
Right.
know I needed anything
That's right.
by the world standards.
Yeah.
But I know what you're talking about from that adversity because yeah, there's times I got robbed. There's times I got,
Yep.
chased. Like different crazy things happen. And those periods of adversity though, not to be cliche, but they talk about like sometimes they'll cause you to break or cause you to break records, and it's like, yeah, I mean that's this
Right.
moment for you, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah, so I mean, when you face adversity, like you look at like some of the greats, like in anything, whether it be
For sure.
sports or politics or business or whatever it
Yeah,
is, like
yeah,
there's always like deep rooted in these people. There's some form of adversity that drives them, and that was a big driving force for me. Is like losing a big pillar in my life, like my father at an
yeah,
early age.
yeah,
Was like, okay, well, I got to do this on my own, and I could have gone the bad route. I mean, luckily, like I think that my faith, like my light understanding of my faith kept me grounded enough
yeah,
to steer me in the right direction. My faith like helped ground me in enough because I still got in a little bit of trouble. Nothing crazy, but like
Yeah. I mean, that's,
so I had to learn some
20 years old.
lessons. But it grounded me enough to, stay clear of
Yeah.
nonsense
Yeah.
and build something.
Yeah.
And I could have chosen a complete other path, like for sure. I could have chosen to sell drugs. I could have chosen to sell all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
At one point, I was very close to selling guns,
Yeah.
and I was buying and selling a few guns, but not officially, just a few. But I could have like evolved and started buying and selling guns, like
Yeah.
illegal guns.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that moment, really launched me into a really hard 6 months where emotionally I wasn't mature enough to like handle those things. And I basically turned to the guy from San Antonio and I said, "Hey, I've got these contracts with these motels and hotels. Would you like to buy these contracts plus my inventory? Give me $50,000 for my contracts, and then paid me for my inventory."
And then you introduced him to the supplier that you were
I
using.
introduced him to the supplier and kind of walked away.
Okay.
And ended up slowly, because I only had a trailer. So I was like, I'm going to have to bring you all my inventory kind of like in 2 trips, 3 trips.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that. He was really nice about it. He was very like thankful for that relationship.
Yeah. What a great. What made you want to get out of the space?
Oh, dude, I had, like you said, cash in a briefcase. People stealing from me.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to manage employees. I didn't know how to manage the bad calls.
Right. The expectations.
Emotionally, I'm going through this grief of losing my father while going to engineering school, while running a business. And when I get a phone call like that, "Hey, my TV's broken," and just the person, the way they approach like handling that, like, "My TV's broken," if they're mad at all, I'm not emotionally equipped to respond well to that conversation.
Right. Yeah.
And so I knew that I wasn't being myself, and that I wasn't prepared for that. And now, high level, I didn't know that, but like at the time, I was just so overwhelmed.
Innately, you knew that.
Yeah. So I decided, I'm like, I'm done with this. And if I can get out, take it. And if I can make a little bit of money, cool. I didn't even care. I was just like, get me away from this.
And you had already paid back all of your investors, your brother-in-law, and your friend.
Yeah.
Like by that time, you're way in the red by this point.
I had my own cash. So at that point, the guy from San Antonio bought my inventory, took over those contracts, and I walked away and I basically like reset. And so he had in his driveway a Porsche. It was a Boxster. It was a 2007 Porsche Boxster red with 20,000 miles. And he's like, no, I saw it and I was like, "Hey, instead of 50,000 cash, why don't I buy that Porsche, and you give me the net of what the value of the Porsche is?" And I think it was like 20 something grand, 22 grand or something.
Right.
And I ended up getting like 28 grand plus the Porsche.
Nice.
So I ended up taking that, driving it back to Corpus.
Was that like the first barter that you like? Is that what kind of like?
That was the first car I had ever like bought and like used to barter. And so I used it to flaunt it for 3 months to party, bars, this, that.
Okay, yeah.
Realized that wasn't my scene. And then immediately a friend.
That's a fun way to grieve.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it
was.
Yeah, I mean, it fills a gap.
And immediately I take that Porsche and I'm like, all right. I talked to a friend. He's like, "Dude, put it back on Craigslist. There's this thing where you can just like, you can trade your car." And I'm like, "What is that?"
I know. Isn't that fun? People still today think I'm out of my mind when I tell them I still do it.
So I end up learning about trading cars.
Yeah.
And so I put it on Craigslist and I put for trade. And the first trade I ever got was a Hummer, a 2003 yellow Hummer. And the guy offered me $1,000 plus his Hummer to trade for my Porsche.
Yeah.
I went to go meet him and, we swapped titles and I'm pumped and I got this like new ride now.
Yeah, exactly.
And now I'm like up and now like the value of the Hummer was slightly greater than the Porsche and I'm getting cash. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So that is what got me in the car business initially is, buying and selling classics and sports cars and anything with
I must have met you not too far after that.
Yeah.
Because I remember you talking about the Hummer too.
That was in like 2000 and, you know what I got from you that worked out well? So this is where we're going to catch up. That Hummer, I ended up trading that Hummer
for something that you traded
for
me.
a 1971 split bumper Camaro.
That's the one.
That's the one that
That's what you traded to me.
You brought me a 1970 or 1971 black split bumper Camaro.
Yeah.
And that is what you traded I think you got my Hummer for that.
No, I didn't get the Hummer. I got something that you traded the Hummer for though, because I remember the Hummer being part of the story.
It was a black, what did you trade me for it?
But I did trade you, I do remember the split bumper Camaro.
Yes.
That was actually a fun car.
That was a hot rod.
Yeah, it was. It
That
had
was a
a
bad
three.
car.
It had a stroker in it,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think, if
yeah.
I
The
remember. It was a
stroker, it
little
was a
bit.
hot rod.
But whatever you traded the Hummer for is what I. It was a truck. I'm almost positive it was a dually diesel truck.
I don't know,
I'm
man.
almost positive.
I'd have to go back. I have photos and
I
stuff.
do too. I've still not. One of the things I want to do. It's we don't have time
Yeah, yeah.
for things like this. It's like we dream about it, but like all of the thousands of cars I've ever bought, sold, or traded, I have documented somewhere.
Yeah.
I want to compile all that and show people like the craziest trade lines I've ever had.
Yeah.
Because some of them have been crazy.
Oh, I bet.
Like houses, deeds to houses, and stuff like that.
What?
Oh yeah,
That's crazy.
I've traded for $250,000 motor homes and tour buses, and I've gotten
Wow.
into. I think the biggest trade I ever had was $500,000 for this massive piece of land and deed to the property, and that
Holy
was a
cow.
whole big thing I had to go through. Like, um, there was a problem because the family wanted it back. It was like a legal back. Anyways, crazy stuff, bro.
Yeah.
But
So,
anyways.
so I'll try to.
By the way, yeah, I was about to say it's 11:18.
Yeah, I'll try to fast forward.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I'll fast forward as
We
quick
can
as
always do
possible.
part 1, part 2 too. I'm totally fine with that.
So we go from I go from trading cars on Craigslist while I'm in engineering school. The one thing I wanted to do was finish school. I'm
Yep.
glad I did. I went to school for civil engineering. I ended up finishing school. While in school, I meet a programmer and we create an app together. And you probably saw
Oh,
that.
dude, yes, I remember.
Yeah.
What is it called? What was
So
it called
it's
again?
called Spotagory.
Yes.
So what it does is
Dude.
you share a photo or a video.
Is it still out there?
It's not. No,
Okay,
no.
okay.
I have to do a short version here. So I ended up using a lot of my money. I had around 200 grand saved up at that time. And
Yeah.
I'm about to graduate college. I'm 23 years old, about to graduate engineering school. While on campus, we developed this mobile app that you share a photo and it shares with everyone around you. So no matter where you go, you can see what's happening around you. And so it's a local discovery app is
Yeah.
what it was.
I thought the idea was amazing.
It's a really cool idea, great time. I just had no clue how to generate revenue.
Right.
So we end up launching it. After I graduate, I moved to Coppell. So I just go anywhere in the world. I could have gone anywhere. I had no ties to anything. I said, let me go to the biggest city in Texas. Let's go to Dallas. Boom, go to Dallas. Pick a rental home in Coppell and let me build an HQ there. So go to Coppell, hire Chinese programmers. They come into the house with me and my partner. We're working out of a house.
It's like this.
Yeah, just like this. So yeah, it's familiar. So we have whiteboards everywhere, and we launch in the App Store. Like it was like May of 2014. We launched the App Store. We get like 10 to 15,000 users within the first whatever time. I don't know if it was first month, first 3 months, but it was quickly. And we had a lot of campuses on the East Coast, the Northeast Coast, like Ivy League schools join. A lot of Texas campuses join. I had presidents of so student body presidents. My hack was get the student body presidents to sign into my app and then share it because they had access to the school network.
Right.
So
Right.
I got the student body presidents to basically like get behind me
Right.
of every single university, and we had all these universities sign in, and so I had tons of data. Good Morning Texas found out. They called me. I went on the show.
Oh, nice.
Talked on Good Morning Texas. After the show, I had an investor call from Switzerland.
No way.
Yeah, an investor called from Switzerland, and he's like, "Hey, I really love like the concept. Like, what's your revenue model?" I said, "There is no revenue model.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm spending right now like $5,000 a month in data, and it's only going up." And he's like, "Well, I would like to invest. Like, what's it take?" So he ended up making a small investment and getting behind it. And I said, "Man, this is a very like I don't know the revenue model. I have an idea,
Right.
but I don't know."
Right.
So in the next 6 months, the app grows so much in terms of usage and data storage that I cannot afford it. I am on the verge of bankruptcy.
Wow.
And I'm funding it myself. Mind
Right.
you, I put 200 grand of my own money in it.
Right.
All that I had. So I'm down to $40,000 left in my own personal bank account. And I'm like, either I put it into this app that's drowning, or I'm going to put it into cars.
Okay.
Something I know I'm going to make money in.
Right.
So I decide to send out a mass message to all the users. It was like horrible because like my life was like out there.
Yeah.
I'm like in the public eye.
I know. Yeah.
So I put it out there and I'm like, hey guys, I have to shut down the app. And it was terrible. I had to tell my investor, hey, I have to shut down the app. Myself included.
Yeah.
I had to like lose the money, swallow it. So I ended up telling everybody, hey, I'm done. I ended up losing over $200,000. And I pivoted immediately, got my dealer's license, and start the auto cave. And And
What year was
that
that?
was in 2014.
2014. I
So
remember
so
that, bro. I
12,
remember seeing your post and I'm like,
12 years ago.
heck yeah, you
Yeah,
know?
12 years ago, pivoted. I had a hard year because I'm 24 years old. I had to reset, but whatever, 24 years old. Like
Yeah.
when I look it back now, it's easy to say, but at the
Yeah.
time I'm like, damn, I've lived a whole life, you know?
Yes.
I had an
Yes.
identity in this.
Yep.
And when you have to reset your identity, it's really like your ego has to leave, right?
Yes.
So
That is a God thing.
since then I had to reset my identity, and I became like more in the car business, and ever since then I've been in the car business. Thankfully had a lot of success in the car business.
Yeah.
So the first year was hard. I was doing classics, doing what we knew.
Yeah.
But after a year I found the best business model that I've ever stumbled upon was buy here, pay here.
Yeah.
And that is where you finance the car. You sell a customer a car, and if they can't pay you in full, they make payments to you over time.
Yeah. You become the
So
bank.
I become the bank. I did that once. I did that twice. Then after $40,000 that I had, I ran out of money. Right, I had no more money
Sure.
to loan people,
Yeah.
so I had to go get a line of credit, and I had to figure that out. So fast forward, I ended up borrowing money, very expensive money, from like basically hard money lenders.
I saw one of your
In the
podcasts
industry.
talking about that first kind of person who took a chance on you,
Yeah.
but it was real expensive, but like it
Yes.
got you started.
Oh man, it got me started, and that led to another credit line that was slightly less expensive but still expensive.
Yep.
I borrowed $1 million, then 2 million, then 5 million, then 10 million, and at one point I ended up leveraging just on a credit line for auto loan receivables around 13 to 14 million, and I had about 23, 24 million dollars, maybe 25 in receivables owed to me.
Yeah.
So I was balancing that, and I scaled it over 5 years. I built alongside it an insurance company. I bought commercial real estate alongside it to support
Sure.
the dealerships.
Yeah.
And I think like leveraging was high risk, but in those times prime rate was 3.5%.
Yeah.
And so
Freaking awesome.
at that time, even expensive money was cheap money. And I remember very clearly in 2017, we had audited financials, and in order to borrow money at cheap money from banks, you can pay 1 point over prime, and at the time prime's 3.5%.
Right.
So I in 2017 went and refied out of my expensive money, and I refied out over a $10 million in debt. I went from 16-18% on 10 million down to 4.5%. So
Dude.
just on that refi that year alone, I made over $1 million.
Right.
It was signing my name, and I made probably 1.5 to $2 million
With the investment
more
of the ink
just
in
that
your
year.
pen.
Just that year because of audited financials.
Yep.
So that really like changed the game. I knew too, after I made that investment, I hired my wife as a CFO. She was a controller
Okay.
at a different company. So I hired her in as a CFO.
Now, is that how you met her, or you're just saying you
No,
brought
no,
her
no,
on
no,
board
no.
at that time?
No, I had met her when I had moved to DFW.
Okay,
Through,
okay.
through a friend.
Got it.
So we had already been dating and already married. So I hired her in as a CFO, and she was like the backbone of our infrastructure.
Nice.
So it was myself, a business partner who really knew cars,
Yeah.
and then myself, who's like more finance engineering.
Yeah. You have that analytical side.
Right, right. So us three together, kind of three-headed monster, over a 5-year period, really scaled up our business a ton.
Yeah.
And we built out insurance, real estate, finance company, dealerships, and push,
And is that where you're sitting at today? Fast forward to today, like
yeah. So
what all businesses do you own underneath that umbrella, or what came from that?
yeah. So fast forward to today, we probably operate like 9 or 10 companies. A lot of them are automotive. So
They're all around that ecosystem.
yeah, it's really driven around the ecosystem. So the dealership, which we consolidated to one big site, and that
Okay.
was awesome.
Where's that at?
In South Dallas.
Okay, I need to come
off
see it.
I-20. Yeah, it's
I
really
need to
cool.
come see that.
So we have a big production center there where we produce, 75, 80 cars a month.
Wow.
And we're originating around 75, 80 loans a month.
Wow. That's freaking
Which
awesome, bro.
is so we
I love it.
We loan $1.5 million a month
Wow.
to consumers on the street who are financing cars with us. We have a finance company, so we have a dealership that sells the cars. We have a finance company that loans the money to the consumers that are buying the cars.
Right.
We have a reinsurance company that is providing insurance and service contracts to the buyers who need insurance and warranty work.
Okay. Right.
The
Yeah, because buy here, pay here. If the car's not running, they're not paying for it.
bingo.
Right.
off that, we have a commercial real estate company that holds the properties
Right.
to our dealerships. We have a dealership out in Terrell, but we're leasing it to somebody else.
Right.
We then have a franchise called CarStar. They're everywhere. There's like over 200 stores across the country. They're a big partner with State Farm. We have the
You created this?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't create it. We are a franchisee.
You're a franchisee. Got it.
Yeah, we're a franchisee, so we operate under that brand, CarStar.
Okay.
So we have the CarStar brand in South Dallas. But
I see. The Auto Cave is a franchisee of CarStar from.
no. The Auto Cave is the dealership.
Okay.
Sorry, CarStar is a collision center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like Kaleb Collision, Texas Collision, all
Yes.
those.
Yes, that makes sense.
That's a direct competitor to CarStar.
Got it.
So
Very cool.
we got into the franchise collision center business.
Yeah.
Because we already were fixing cars. So we have a operator that operates that on that site.
Yeah.
And yeah, so collision center business. We've got a technology business that drives data and analytics for all dealers across the country.
Oh, nice.
So recently, this past year in July of 25, I invested into that platform, and it's been really great. We're really scaling that up. It's a very small company, but we're scaling that up. We want to have over 100 dealers by the end of next year.
Nice.
We should have at least 60 dealers by the end of this year. We're somewhere.
What does it do? I mean, very Cliff Notes.
So yeah,
because
Cliff Notes.
We're about to hit 11:30.
All it does is it provides, because I've been a buy here, pay here operator for so long, it provides buy here, pay here dealers dashboards to show what their analytics are for their business. So like all their KPIs and main metrics.
Nice. Okay.
It just shows them it shows them all of their main profitability metrics, and it compares their data to other dealers' data around the country.
Got it.
So they know where they're at. So it's like a composite
Yeah.
to show like where they're at in comparison. So
That type of IP is so valuable.
yeah, so the technology piece is cool. It's hard because it's like a subscription-based business. So it's got like smaller margins in the beginning, but as it scales up, it's got this residual income, what do they call it?
Passive income.
It's like there's a certain value that gets placed on tech businesses that have residual subscription.
Oh, you're talking about
model.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a multiplier on
Right.
on
like
recurring revenue.
Reoccurring revenue.
Reoccurring
yes,
revenue,
Yeah, sorry,
yeah.
drew a blank.
Yeah.
So yeah, have that, and then on the side, I've got my personal real estate. I've got residential properties, which I'm not too fond of because it takes time.
I know.
Like I don't have a property manager,
Right.
and I should go that route, but I just
Just get out of the
residential stuff.
Yeah, get out of the I was there
Yeah.
at my peak before everything fell apart on me.
Now
I had 16 properties and
Yeah,
they're gone now.
It's fine. Like we have great equity. We bought it right. It's just sometimes a headache, and
it is a headache.
yeah, and I like commercial a lot more. I've been funding some developments and some commercial stuff. But
Yeah, one of my buddies, who's one of the largest developers, actually right here in McKinney, Sanchez, you can look him up. He told me something that I'll never forget. He said, "You can drown in an inch of water or in an ocean of water. Why would you choose like the inch?" And residential is like the inch of water.
Yeah,
If you get into development or commercial, that's the ocean. Like, and if you can drown either place. There's just a lot more money to be made there. And I'm like, I never forgot that. Like, it's something so simple, but that's what immediately made me exit from all the residential stuff and start focusing on commercial.
But I think like all this. So just to fast forward and close this up.
Yeah.
Like I've always wanted to start a family. Ever since losing my dad, I've always wanted to have a son and have that father-son relationship again. I've been able to have that. I had my son in 2022.
So he's about 4?
So he's 4. So,
Okay.
So like I feel like that's grounded me and like helped me look at life a bit differently.
You have just
I have him and a daughter.
Okay. Daughter's older?
No, she's 1 year old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's younger.
Yeah.
So I have 2 kids.
Awesome.
Like what I'm saying is that all this success is like it came from motivation and adversity and the desire to have more because I didn't come from much. Like my dad's a mechanic. My mom was from Mexico. She was the first person to ever have any education. She didn't get a bachelor's degree. She got an associate's, and that was big in our family.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't educated.
Right.
My household income was really low growing up, so I didn't have all these extras. We didn't
Right.
go out to eat.
Right.
We didn't go on vacation. I
Yeah.
never vacationed once.
Yeah.
Like going to like ski trips and stuff, that didn't happen.
No, me neither. I didn't even know what that was until I moved out.
Yeah.
Like-
So I think like all that's great, but like if you don't have a foundation of something that grounds you and reminds you, like, times get hard. So how lean are you? Like, what's
Yeah.
your spending habits? Like all this,
Yeah.
like to keep you safe and keep, like, you can go for a sprint, but you're going to get tired really quickly. Life's a marathon.
Yeah.
Prepare for that long trip
Yeah.
and build a foundation the right way. Like getting things overnight. Like, yeah, you can have fast success, but getting things overnight is like not what I'm after. I look at things like in a 10-year period,
You
and
have to.
if I can like say, okay, I want this in 10 years, that's how I build in my mind.
Yeah. Well, and it's tough. Like obviously we're in our late 30s, and I think most of we're at like the tail end of the millennial generation, right? Or
Yeah,
between then
yeah,
and
yeah,
the whatever comes after it, Gen Z or whatever.
yeah,
Um, it's tough though because of social media. Because that's why I've been so anti social media. It's like it's so fake, and it puts a bad perspective into especially the younger generation that they can have things just right now. And
right.
that's not the truth. Like you're talking about a journey. If you listen to the interview with Brian Beaver, he sold Carter Energy for a couple $100 million.
Jeez.
Yeah, crazy story. It's a great interview I did, but he talks about, yeah, it's my 45-year overnight success.
Yeah, exactly.
But nobody wants to give you credit for that, right?
Yeah,
Nobody wants to talk about how you started when you were, let's call it 20 years ago, right? 16, 17, 18 years old when you're doing these TVs and stuff like that. Fast forward now you're 36.
36, yeah.
So almost 20 years, 18 years, 19,
Right,
whatever it
right, right.
is. Or for me, moving out of my parents' house when I was 15, almost 16, fast forward now literally 20 years. I'm 37. I've had it all. I've been at the top of the world and I've been at the bottom. But it is the adversity, yes, but then there's a fork in the road with every adversity, and you have to choose either the path of destruction, right?
Right,
Like
right,
you
right,
said,
right.
you could go be an alcoholic or sell drugs or you
Right,
could go this way because it's not going to change who you are. You're still a hustler in there,
right.
but you're going to hustle the wrong things, and that's how people go. Or you go this way.
Yeah.
And I tell people too, like one of the things, like I'm unashamed of being a Christian. And I'm not the best Christian. I cuss, I drink, I smoke, whatever. Like I'm not this like picture perfect. Like you open up the Bible and you go, oh, that's what. But I think that's kind of the reality. Is like I know who I am. I know whose I am.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going. And like this bankruptcy I just went through, and like losing everything and getting sued, and like, you know, we got our entire life blown up in the last couple of years. And if
Yeah.
there wasn't a hope, if there wasn't this like something rooted, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you were saying. Maybe not, but like,
Yeah. It's just people. Yeah, people want to quit when times are hard.
yeah,
It's like, what's going to keep you going?
yeah,
And having my family keeps me going. Having faith
yeah,
keeps me going.
yeah,
And that's also like led me into like some other habits. Like I look at my habits. I'm like, okay, I got into running. I hated running 2.5 years ago, and I got into
right.
running. And
You're a
now,
freaking beast, bro.
now I
Like,
start running. Yeah, I got into ultras. And I really love like that. I love the mental battle.
yeah,
Because it's a muscle that I like to exercise, and if
yeah,
I can't, like if I'm doing hard stuff all the time like that, and I make it a habit, a daily habit,
yeah,
then all this other stuff, scaling a business, putting hours into whatever, dude, that's for me, it's light work.
yeah.
It's light work.
And think about the kids that you're raising
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
result of that.
yeah,
It's like when I was in Europe, wanting to give up after a mile of walking, knowing that I can't because my kids are watching me.
yeah.
It was that mental fortitude that you're talking about. Now, I don't want to run. I broke all those bones in the motorcycle. It probably wouldn't be good for me to run anyways, but like I could do it.
Good.
I could,
Should.
I should, maybe I should, I maybe bike riding, that may
Yeah,
be
yeah.
better. But like seeing you and seeing like your video, like that 100 miles that you ran
Yeah.
in 23 hours,
Yeah.
I think it was,
Yeah.
that blew my freaking mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's always another level.
Yeah, it blew my mind too.
I bet it did, bro. I'm like, I'm watching it, like you're like limping to get and like watching. I'm just like,
Yeah, that was actually the mile like 90 or 91, and I was using my body's momentum to get going again.
right.
Because like every 10 miles, there's an aid station
Yeah.
where you tie up your toes, any blisters, you're fueling food, you're just fueling carbs like crazy to keep your body going. And so your body is so stiff. If you wait too long, your body's so stiff So then you got to get the momentum to keep going. So when you saw me kind of like limping,
Yeah.
it was me just kind of getting my
It's like
momentum
getting the
going.
motor
Yeah,
turning
yeah,
again
getting the
every
motor turning
time.
again. And that's like life. Like you go through these lows and you got to keep taking those steps and get the momentum going. The coolest part is, I'll tell you, and you know this, is like when you get that motor going, momentum pulls you.
Yeah.
That's just science. Like
Yeah.
momentum will pull you. And your kids, like lessons are caught, they're not taught.
That's
You can
right.
sit here and talk about these lessons, but if you don't show them, they're not going to catch those
That's
lessons.
right.
So if you want to change someone's life, you show them
Yeah.
through action, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, brother, I know we're over time. I appreciate you coming.
Dude, thanks, man.
Maybe this is part. Maybe
cool.
we'll do another one of these down at in your fancy studio that you have.
Yeah, why not?
I would love that. Actually, that'd be fun. You have a podcast too, right? Don't you?
Yeah, I do it for fun. It's not something I publicize a ton.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's
do
kind
have-
of what this is, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'm doing it because my marketing agency told me I had to, mainly. But it's all just about authenticity and just
yeah,
this.
you want to get stuff out. You want to have attention because for me, the reason why I'm on social media is because when you put yourself out there, you get more opportunities,
Right.
right? Like a conversation, like seeing you and catching up. There could be maybe my resources align with your resources, and there's
Right.
business to be had. But
Yeah.
you never get to have like explore those opportunities if you never saw a video of mine, or vice
Right.
versa, or if we vanished off social media, how do we stay connected?
No, we wouldn't
Right?
have.
Only maybe through a text message.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, and you know what's this is interesting, but I'm kind of a crazy person, just be
Oh, for
honest.
sure.
I think probably you are too in there, a little bit. Probably you have to be a little bit crazy
Yeah.
to do what we do, or to getting on social media has actually held me to a different level of accountability that I didn't know it would do. Because I'm having to watch what I do, what I say, when I do it, because my kids can go on YouTube and watch my stuff.
right.
And they're going to.
Right.
Like my oldest daughter's 13. And she's at that point now where she's like, Dad, why did you say that on your podcast? I'm like, oh, but I never thought that it would provide that accountability, but it is. And it's kind of a good thing for me,
That's great.
So anyways, I appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.